In the gritty streets of Amsterdam, where the echoes of hustle and bustle were often drowned out by the sounds of trouble brewing, a young Rida Benayem found himself navigating a tumultuous upbringing. Born to Moroccan parents on a fateful March day in 1991, Rida's childhood was anything but conventional. Growing up in the heart of Amsterdam West, amidst the chaos of the Gulden Winkelstraat, he was no stranger to the harsh realities of life. It wasn't long before Rida found himself drawn to the allure of the streets, seeking solace among a group of misfits known simply as Het Gulden Winkelplant Zoen. This ragtag bunch, notorious for stirring up trouble in their neighborhood, became Rida's surrogate family. With each passing day, he delved deeper into their world, trading school books for street smarts and playgrounds for alleyways. As the lines between right and wrong blurred, Rida's involvement in petty crimes became a rite of passage. Armed with nothing but bravado and a thirst for adventure, he quickly earned the moniker of Soldat among his peers. A fearless warrior unafraid to tread where others dared not. But with every heist and brush with the law, Rida's trajectory seemed set on a collision course with destiny. Marokkaanse maatschappelijk workers, tasked with keeping the youth on the straight and narrow, watched in dismay as Rida's downward spiral accelerated. Standing at a mere 1.69 meters tall, his stature belied a ferocity that knew no bounds. And when fists alone proved insufficient to settle scores, Rida took matters into his own hands, quite literally. Escalation of Violence. It was a fateful night in Amsterdam's bustling center when Rida's life took a decisive turn. Rubbing shoulders with Dutch artist Mr. Probs and his entourage, Rida found himself embroiled in a brawl that would alter the course of his existence. As fists flew and tempers flared, Rida, driven by a potent cocktail of adrenaline and bravado, reached for something far deadlier than his fists, a firearm. The crack of gunfire shattered the night air, leaving chaos and confusion in its wake. Flex, one of Rida's adversaries, lay wounded on the ground, while Mr. Probs himself narrowly escaped the grim embrace of death. In that moment, Rida had crossed a threshold from which there would be no turning back. As the authorities closed in, Rida's brushes with the law became a routine affair. Arrests, interrogations, and narrow escapes became the rhythm of his life. But for Rida, the allure of the streets proved irresistible, beckoning him ever deeper into the shadowy underworld that lurked just beyond the city's gleaming facade. Notorious crimes, the Jewel Heist, and the deadly shootout. In the annals of Amsterdam's criminal history, few incidents stand out with the stark intensity of Rida Benayem's daring jewelry store robbery. It was a heist woven with the threads of recklessness and desperation, a tale that would ultimately culminate in a deadly showdown with law enforcement. On that fateful day, Rida, fueled by a cocktail of adrenaline and ambition, orchestrated a brazen assault on Leiden's prestigious jewelry emporium, Has Gold. Accompanied by his accomplices, they stormed into the establishment, their faces masked by the shadows of their own audacity. With guns drawn and nerves taut, they demanded compliance from the trembling staff, their instructions laced with the threat of lethal consequences. Yet fate, as capricious as ever, intervened with a cruel twist. As the trio made their escape, the unexpected unfolded. The getaway vehicle, once their conduit to freedom, refused to yield to their desperate pleas. Stranded and exposed, panic mingled with anger, igniting a deadly exchange of gunfire. The air crackled with the staccato rhythm of bullets as law enforcement arrived to confront the fleeing felons. The streets of Leiden became a battleground, echoing with the chaos of conflicting ambitions and shattered dreams. In the aftermath, the jewelry store's pristine facade was marred by the scars of violence, and the city was left to grapple with the aftermath of Rida's audacious escapade. Becoming a hitman, the dark descent into assassination. From the ashes of his criminal exploits, Rida Benayem emerged as a figure of terror within the underbelly of Amsterdam. His transformation from a mere street thug to a hired gun for the highest bidder was a testament to the allure of power and the seductive whispers of the criminal underworld. With each successful hit, Rida's reputation swelled, casting a long shadow over the city's denizens. His demeanor, once brash and impulsive, morphed into a cold, calculated precision, honed by years of navigating the treacherous currents of organized crime. No longer content with petty robberies and skirmishes, Rida embraced his new role with a grim determination, his conscience buried beneath layers of blood-stained ambition. As contracts flowed in, each more lucrative than the last, Rida's ascent seemed unstoppable. He became the embodiment of fear, a specter haunting the dreams of those who dared to cross the threshold of his domain. Yet, amidst the whispers of his infamy, a chilling truth emerged. Rida's fate was intertwined with the very darkness he had embraced. With each life extinguished by his hand, he edged closer to the precipice of his own demise, his soul weighed down by the sins of his past. The Vendetta, unveiling the veins of vengeance. In the labyrinthine corridors of Amsterdam's criminal underworld, the seeds of vendetta were sown deep, intertwining the fates of rival factions in a tapestry of bloodshed and betrayal. At its heart lay the feud between Benayem and Martha, a clash of titans fueled by ambition and simmering resentments, threatening to engulf the city in the flames of retribution. The origins of this vendetta traced back to a seemingly innocuous incident, the disappearance of a lucrative shipment of contraband. In the shadows of the night, whispers echoed through the narrow alleys, each laden with accusations and recriminations. Suspicions simmered like a pot left unattended, boiling over into open hostility as the rival factions vied for supremacy in the murky depths of Amsterdam's criminal hierarchy. What began as a mere disagreement over a lost cargo soon morphed into a full-fledged war, with Benayem and Martha at its helm, their names whispered in hushed tones by those who dared to tread the treacherous waters of the underworld. The streets became battlegrounds, each corner a potential ambush, as the rival factions sought to assert their dominance through force and fear. In the shadows, Rida Benayem stood as a formidable figure, his once unassailable empire now besieged on all sides by the relentless onslaught of his enemies. Yet, amidst the chaos and carnage, whispers of treachery lingered, casting doubt upon the loyalty of those closest to him. Betrayal, it seemed, was the currency of the realm, with allegiances shifting like sand in the desert winds. As the body count mounted and the streets ran red with the blood of the fallen, Amsterdam found itself gripped by a sense of unease, a palpable tension that hung heavy in the air. In the heart of the storm, Rida stood alone, his gaze fixed upon the horizon, as he braced himself for the final reckoning that awaited him in the dark recesses of the city's underworld. For Rida Benayem, the path to redemption seemed all but lost, his soul weighed down by the sins of his past. Yet, amidst the chaos and despair, a glimmer of hope remained, a flickering ember in the darkness, waiting to be reignited by the flames of justice or consumed by the inferno of vengeance, betrayal, and demise. The final act of a tragic opera. In the twilight of Amsterdam's criminal empire, the stage was set for a finale shrouded in shadows and soaked in the blood of the fallen. For Rida Benayem, once the scourge of the underworld, the closing act of his tragic opera would be one of betrayal and inevitable demise. As the tendrils of vendetta tightened their grip around him, Rida found himself ensnared in a web of treachery, spun by those he once called allies. Betrayal, it seemed, was the currency of the realm, with the promise of gold outweighing the bonds of loyalty and camaraderie. Soliman El Grafrida, a figure shrouded in mystery and deceit, emerged as the architect of Rida's downfall. Once a confidant and companion, Solomon's allegiance wavered like a flickering flame in the wind, driven by the promise of riches and the allure of power. In a twist of fate as cruel as it was inevitable, Solomon cast aside the bonds of friendship, leaving Rida to face his fate alone. On that fateful day, as the shadows lengthened and the echoes of gunfire faded into the night, Rida found himself staring into the abyss of his own mortality. The streets of Amsterdam, once his kingdom, became his final battleground as he stood face to face with the specter of his own demise. In a blaze of gunfire and the deafening roar of justice, Rida's reign of terror came to an abrupt and violent end. The bullets that tore through his flesh marked the culmination of a life defined by violence and despair, a tragic coda to a symphony of bloodshed and betrayal. Yet, even in death, Rida's legacy endured, a testament to the fragility of power and the fleeting nature of fortune. As the city mourned the passing of one of its most feared sons, whispers of his infamy lingered, casting a long shadow over the streets of Amsterdam. For Rida Benayem, The final act had come to a close, his fate sealed in the annals of history as a cautionary tale of ambition and hubris. As the curtain fell on his tumultuous life,